hey Dan. So my name is Bruno Simon. So we pronounce it in French. It's Bruno Simon, even if people like to say Bruno Simon. I'm a creative developer. That's why people like to label me. At some point, I was like, okay, let's say I'm a creative developer. I created a course named ThreeJS Journey where I teach how to create a WebGL website using the ThreeJS library. I also created a portfolio, quite famous one, with the little red car that can collide with the whole environment in WebGL. Again, I'm also a teacher. I used to teach to hundreds and hundreds of real life students in classroom. And yeah, developer full stack. I just like to learn stuff, create some web content, and I think that's it.
The website you made is just like insane. It's so legendary now. It's crazy.
The brunosimon.com. No, I think
Yeah.
it's getting outdated. Today, you can create that really easily because, libraries and learning content have evolved so much. I think it's getting quite easy to create that. We don't see much of this format because it's very specific and people want to always make something original. That's why we don't see like kind of the same experience. But today, I think it needs an update. It's little bit outdated.
Favorite food?
That's quite a difficult question. Obviously, I like what most people love, like hamburgers, things like that. But I realized there is one thing I really like to do. I take the cheap pizza, very basic one, not expensive, and I just add my own topping on it, and I just charge it with whatever any cheese we have in France. We have so many cheese, so there is always cheese in the fridge. So I just choose some cheese. I add olive. I add some oil, etc. And I love doing that. I start from a cheap one and then I add stuff on top of it, make it more spicy, and I think that's my favorite these days. And since it's getting colder every day, it's getting even better to eat a hot pizza. I love it. I just love it.
You're like bootstrapping your own pizza. Who is your favorite superhero?
That would be a classic. It's Batman, probably for the reasons people love, but it's someone that grinds its way to the top with no superpower, and I think that makes it even more like it's even cooler that he didn't fall in I don't know, some radioactive stuff. He wasn't born with some special power from the sun or whatever. He just grind his way to the top. He's always calm and he's like super productive. And I think that's something I just love. Like I don't know if you've seen like the sleeping schedule of Batman, how he does sports, how he think about things while sleeping. That's just so cool. So yeah, it would be Batman.
If you could have a power, what would it be?
Stopping the time. I would love to just be able to stop time. It joins the super productivity things that I love. I would love to be able to just stop the time. You finish the website, you do your all the company paper stuff, and you can just walk to I don't know, the other city right there. You just stop the time and you do whatever you want. So that would be awesome.
The last book that you read and would recommend to people?
I love science fiction, and I was so surprised by. In French, it's Projet Dernière Chance. The English version is it's not Last Chance. It's Project Hail Mary. Yeah, that's it. Project Hail Mary. Wait, I'm going to Google it. Project Hail Mary. Bye. Andy. No. Yes. Andy Weir. It's the guy. Most people know him from another book and movie. It's the book where the Matt Damon is on Mars, and he's cultivating potatoes. You've seen this
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah.
Okay,
Marshall.
it's the same author for the book, and Project Hail Mary was such a surprise. I love science fiction. I love like epic science fiction. I love more realistic science fiction. And this one is super realistic, and it's crazy how realistic it is. There are crazy things happening. I can't spoil anything, but everything is explained in so much details, like how things are being. I can't say anything without spoiling too much, but you learn so much in terms of science. You learn so much, like I learned why the microwave, why there is a grid, and this grid has this exact shape. you learn why when on the ISS satellite, they can't just live in space because there is the pressure that matches the pressure of Earth. In case in ISS there is the same pressure as the one on Earth, in case they need to go down like super fast because there is an emergency. So when they want to go out in space where it's a different pressure, they need to wait like maybe like 1 hour, 2 hours, something like that, so that the pressure changes slowly. And you learn just like so many things like that. There's a purpose for the story, and you learn those, and you're like, wow, that's so crazy. The author must be like a scientist, an ex-scientist or something like that, because it's really good and the story is great. And the good news is that there's a movie in preparation, and I can't wait to see the movie, and I can't wait to see how they are going to solve all that, because it's so crazy what's happened. I'm not sure they are going to be able to do everything happening in the book. So yeah, my favorite one, such a good surprise.
So you get up in the morning, have things to do, but you're not in the mood to do them. But they have to be done.
Yeah,
What kickstarts you?
I have very specific techniques to get shit done, as I said. One that I really try to do these days, and I push people to do the same. It's I don't know who said that. Eat the frog in the morning. Have you heard of this sentence? Who said
Eat
that?
the
Mark
frog
Twain.
in the morning.
Mark Twain said that, or we don't care about who said that actually. But the idea is that not everybody wants to do that. But if you were to eat a frog today, would you eat it in the morning or more like in the evening? And there are different types of people. And there are people that we say, I will eat it like as soon as I wake up so that it's done and then I can enjoy the rest of the day. And some people will say, I will wait for the end of the day, but they will think about it the whole day and they will go to sleep eating a frog. So not great. Personally, I joined this idea: eat the frog in the morning. Everything that is difficult or that you don't want to do, I do it in the morning. It's both things that I don't want to do, like company papers, things like that, or it can be things that are very hard. Typically, mathematics stuff. When I'm coding, since it's creative coding, it's very visual, I always have to deal with some math, geometric math, things like that. When I do it in the evening, I'm so tired. I just can't get the right formula. I can't solve the problem. I can't find the mistake in my code. I wake up in the morning, it's done in 5 minutes. And that happens so many times that I know I'm going to solve it in 5 minutes in the morning. And now I'm chill with that, because the issue, all developers, and you must have felt this feeling at the end of the day, like, no, I don't want to go to sleep without solving this issue. And you go to sleep and you're like, oh, grumpy, and you think about it the whole night and you can't sleep. You will fix it in the morning anyway. Well, now I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to sleep. I'm sure I'm going to sleep, fix it tomorrow. So I just stop in the evening doing hard stuff, and I do it in the morning. So that's the first one. Yeah, I have a bunch of other like classic one, micro tasking. Some people ask me, how could you build like 3GS Journey now? It's so huge with so many features. I mean, it's crazy. We have challenges, we have quiz, we have 93 hours of content. That's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it's true that how could I have done that? But it's just micro tasking, and I reduce it to a few minutes level of work, just micro task. Always. I have other ones like learn how to rest. I used to do a mistake. It was to rest poorly. Like, I've been coding for an hour or two. Okay, I can't code anymore. Let's do a break. What I do is playing video games. Nope, that's just the worst idea. There is I think it's Churchill who said that if you work with your mind, you need to rest with your hands. If you work with your hands, you need to rest with your mind. We are working with our mind, we need to rest with our hands. So leave the computer, leave anything that is about logic and mental stuff, and just, I don't know, enjoy the garden, spend some time with someone, just sleep for 10 minutes, something like that. Do manual stuff, and you will feel much better, much faster, and you will be able to work again. If you play video games, especially like stressing video games, competitive video games, you're going to stop the video games and you won't be able to work. So yeah, learn how to rest best, and avoid traps, like things that are actually not helping you on resting. So yeah, those are my productivity hacks.
Damn, the rest one's interesting actually, because I will. Sometimes I'll rest from work by doing my own projects,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Does it
It's
work?
no. I
No.
don't,
Okay.
now I'm thinking about it. No, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Actually, you made the change from being employed to having your own thing. You now work for yourself.
Yeah.
There is obviously a shift that happened. What gave you the confidence to make that shift?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of in digital, things are changing so fast. People are changing jobs so fast. It's important to be able to do that jump and understand how we work in order to do the right jump at the right moment. Me, I have an issue. That's a big issue I have. I'm very what's the word? Pessimist. Like I'm always like, okay, that's not going to work. No, I need to make sure that I have enough money before I go alone in case I don't find any clients. No, I should not create a course. No, I should not teach in class because they will maybe not like it. I'm going to lose time. So I'm very pessimist and I need all the green lights before I go. And I'm like that. I can't help myself. That's not great in terms of in terms of creating companies and stuff like that. But it's how I am, and every time I had all the green lights. You mentioned like when I went started working on my own. I remember I actually started doing freelancing way before because my company at that time let me. There was no issue; they were okay for me to do that. So I was working, evening, weekends for clients, and I had many clients, and I had a lot of clients that wanted me. I was like, no, I'm not available. So that was a green light. I knew I was going to have always clients, and then about the status in France is not that easy and stuff like that. And the decisions, the moment I really took the decision was when I was taking some what's the word vacation holidays. I was just like rating on the beach, which I don't do a lot. That's also the issue. And I was like, yeah, I think I should do that because there are all the green lights. I should do that. And it was every time this when I started creating my the course, when I went freelancing. Every time it was by resting on vacations and having all the green lights. You don't need all the green lights. It's just me because I'm always scared. But yeah, that's how I work on my side. Just take a moment, a real moment, not just like right after work when you are in the train going home and all stressed. No, just after a few days of rest, you're like, should I do this? Yes or no? And then you will decide and probably take the right decision.
There would have become a very key point in time where you created your very first piece of educational content.
Yeah.
Let's focus on not the classroom, but when you created your first piece of educational developer content. What made you do that? Like what was the trigger that you were like, huh, I have something to share here.
Yeah, I think it was a tutorial. I can't find it anymore, but it was a very old tutorial about some web development. And I was like, uh, I think I master it. I'm not sure how good is my knowledge. I'm just going to try to teach it and see how it goes. And I made this online tutorial. It was a video, I think, even though I don't remember recording myself. That's a bit weird. That was such a long time ago. And I created it, and I can't find it anymore. It's probably there, maybe some old hard drives. I put it online. I'm not sure where. Maybe it was Dailymotion or something like that, and I can't find it anymore. I know it was this one, and then I put it aside and totally forgot about it. And years later, I remember that after doing like a classroom, having hundreds of students, creating an online course, a huge online course, and stuff. I remember there was this thing I created a long time ago. The joke is that I discovered that in my family we have a lot of teachers, I didn't even know. That's a bit sad, but I knew my grandparents, but I spent time with them, but I never knew what they were doing in life before. And I discovered that many of my grandparents used to teach. And so my mother told me, see, that's in the genes, it's your DNA. There's something we just enjoy teaching. And it's true, I do love teaching. And yeah, I just gave it more try, different situations, real life, creating the whole platform for 3GS Journey. And I really enjoy doing that. And the most rewarding moment is when you see people getting job, creating cool stuff, getting some attention, and like, oh, you build that, yes, it's thanks to Bruno Simon. And then they go like crazy, like at the end what I teach to people is just like a small, a jump, and then they fly away, and that's just crazy to see that. And it's so rewarding when you see that. And yeah, that's what happened. And yeah, it started with this very small, probably video tutorial a while back. Yeah, it was a video, but even though I don't remember recording it.
And that was definitely, you think, like after you made that video, you thought, okay, I'm gonna try again and again, because then you had your YouTube channel, right?
Like, I do have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
So what? There must have come a point as well with YouTube where you, like, how big is YouTube for you? Is it like a big part of your?
No, it's not, and it should be. That's another issue I have, is that I like to do everything by myself. I don't like to. I could employ people to help me on building the company, the educational content, some promote stuff, etc., doing some reels, some video, but I like to do everything myself because I just want to do it my way, be sure of it, even if it takes longer. And the issue is, it's really hard to create content for the course, to handle the whole community, because we have a Discord. I spent like a few hours every day, like 1 to 2 hours every day on Discord, helping the student and do the company stuff, create new lessons, and after that, handling the YouTube. I would like to have an Instagram too, maybe TikTok. I'm not sure what's the current situation with TikTok, and I should do that more. I admire some content creator like Wawa Sensei. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. Or Anderson Mancini, that is building a really cool YouTube channel doing educational content, and most of it is free, and that's just awesome. I should do that more, and I have some plan actually on doing that, because there's a huge potential. YouTube is really like the number one in terms of video content, and I want to build more stuff. I'm not going to spoil anything because I need to think about it a little bit more, but there is something happening. I hope to do it in maybe about a month or two on YouTube.
What is your? In fact, let's reword it. Let's say you wanted to make a new course from scratch. Let's say it's on how to custom make a bootstrapped pizza, for instance. Something that you haven't, or you don't already have content on. You want to make a course on it. So what is your approach to making a fresh course? So you have all the information.
Yeah.
You want a 10-part course on bootstrapping pizzas. What's your approach to doing that?
That's huge. That's huge, but it can be summed up quite a lot, and there are very important steps in there. First, I just think about it for a few days. You are showering, you are sleeping, you are in the toilet, and I just think about it. I don't start right away, and I just think about it. One important thing is that I always stick to basics, thanks to having beginner students, like someone that have never made a pizza. I always talk to those people, thanks to my current career, my current position. So I know what it is to be a full beginner. And I think that's a lot of content creators creating like learning content forget. They create a nice video, but it's absolutely not for beginners. And if you're not a beginner, you're not interested in that video, and they just miss the target. And the cool thing there is with me that I've always teach to full beginners, and I know what it is to learn. So I will have this perspective that is very important. I will think about it, and I will start doodling and experimenting. I will create a bunch of pizzas. I will try some ingredients, some cooking techniques, etc. I just test, and I start to build up using papers. I like to use papers for this part. Otherwise, I like to use Notion. But the very like creating the main idea of the program, I like to use papers. And I remember I used to have like sheets with tons and tons. It was diagrams, tons and tons of stuff, and then I just moved this one. I joined them, etc. And okay, I have a lot of content right now. I write this content on this paper, and then I start to just organizing and thinking, okay, this one needs to be a full chapter. The part about ingredients, about the the la pâte. Oh, I don't have the words. The thing at the bottom of the pizza. What is it?
The base.
The base of the pizza, about this part, and I start to just split stuff in order to get a rough idea, and then I start working on each lesson, and that's where most of the time is spent. It's really like each lesson. Now that I have a rough idea that can change, but I can start working on each lesson. I do the writing. The writing, it's such a repetitive and long process. Fortunately, I love doing that, so it's fine. But the idea is that I just write the main step. Then I do the exercise and I write more details. And I do the exercise again and I write more details. And I do the exercise again and I write more details. And it's always like that. I just do it on my own, alone. I just do the exercise from scratch and I write it and I do the exercise from scratch again and again and again and again. At some point, it looks like something. It should be fine. I've done it like from scratch many times. For this lesson, I'm just talking about one lesson. I stop. I fix all typos. I fix all the phrasing. That's something I do in the morning when you're like super fresh, especially because it's in English. My English is not great. It's just enough. So I need to be like super clear. My mind needs to be super clear. And I fix as many typos and phrasing as possible. I use tools, like Reverso, the DeepL for translation, things like that, to write it nicely. Then I do the exercise again. Then I send it to a proofreader because I can't do that. And that's the fun part. I said earlier that I like to do everything by myself, but there are things I can't do, like writing a good English. I can't do that. I try, but I can't do that. So I use some proofreaders. I have very specific people that know my topic. I used to have a proofreader that was also doing the course. That was just perfect, but he stopped doing proofreading, so I can't use him anymore. So yeah, the proofreader knows this topic too, even though he hasn't done the ThreeJS Journey, and he fix everything. He fixed the sentences. I do the exercise again. I do the final tweaks, and then the beta phase. And what's funny is that the beta phase is only on text version, and that's something that might be difficult because I have no video yet, and I ask people to do the lesson with only the text. I was like, oh, nobody will want to do that. And I got a nice surprise the first time I asked for that, is that there are many people that prefer the text version. So that was lucky for me because I start from the text version. Obviously, I can't record video immediately, but I was surprised about how many people like text version. It's sometimes it's wait, I think I have a very specific situation. I think someone was deaf and I had no subtitle at that time, and he was very happy to have the text version. And otherwise, it's just people that just prefer the text version. They don't like videos, even though I do like video. Do you prefer video or text?
I think I prefer watching somebody do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are very two types of people. The good thing is that my content is always available as both video and text, which is something that might be difficult if you create content like on YouTube, because you don't have, on the course I've made, I have my own platform, and it's a really well-made text version with the code. You have syntax highlights, things like that, videos, previews, screenshots, drawings, so it's super great to have the text version. But if you do your content on YouTube, you can't have that. So I will maybe have to think about that when I create more YouTube content. And yeah, I do the beta phase where people just test it and they give me feedbacks on Discord. I love using Discord for that. I used to have, the debug tools like I forgot the name, the debug tools that you add to your website, and people using various tools that appear on the website, they can say, oh, I had an issue there. I can't make this one work. This command line doesn't work. There's a typo there. This is not great because it doesn't allow people to debate on that. But with Discord, I have a Discord for each lesson I'm building. People are just like, I had an issue there. And people are like, oh, yeah, it's because you did that. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should add more of this. And we just debate. And I think it's a lot better. I really love to use Discord when it comes to community stuff. So the beta phase, I do the changes. Then I sometimes do a proofreading again if there are a lot of changes. And then there's a very interesting one, a part. It's that I'm going to record, but for the record, I have slides on the bottom left. I don't know if you've seen some of my content, but for 3GS Journey, when I do the lesson, there is the code, my code, there is the result, there is the console, and there is, so it might be reverse. I'm not sure with the mirror and stuff, but there is the slides, and the slides are perfect because it's both for the viewer and for myself. Using the slide, so it's right in front of me on the screen that is being recorded, I have this kind of a cheat sheet that I can use, but the viewer can also see that in case I forget something, in case I'm not saying the word in perfect English, they can just read that. It's kind of a rough subtitle of what I'm about to say. And it makes the flow of the video a lot better. And the cool part of it is that since I write the lesson on Notion, I can export as Markdown. And Markdown is also supported by Slide.js. You know Slide.js?
I don't, but I feel like I should.
I think you've seen some Slide.js presentation. It's just a way to create slides using JavaScript, and I just put that on the bottom left corner of the screen. Using Markdown, the whole content is generated. Obviously, I change it because it's like huge text. I sum it up. I create a bullet point from the huge text. I just make sure that it fits on the slides, and I use a plugin to make it like a little pop-in, no browser navigation bars and stuff like that on the bottom left corner. And I use it for myself, and people can also read it. And it makes the flow of the video a lot better. And I don't have to do so many cuts in the video afterward. So I prepare those slides. I do a test without recording in the evening. Yeah, I'm doing that in the evening. I go to sleep, and in the morning I just did like a recording. I slept, so I have this thing in mind. I'm okay. And in the morning, when I'm super fresh, eat the frog in the morning, I'm doing the record. And there is usually a better lighting too. It's important to have a good lighting because we can see my face on the video, because I do a lot of gesture, like the vertices, stuff like that. And so I have better lighting. I feel fresh. My English is not as sloppy as in the evening, and I do the recording. And the afternoon, I do the video editing, and afterward, I do the worst part, but this one is actually quite important. I create the subtitles. Subtitles are super complex, but there are many, many students using it because my English is not great. Sometimes their English is even worse, and the subtitles are helping a lot. I use an AI to generate subtitles from, well, my voice, so the video file. Then I go through the whole text, and I put technical terms into quotes. Why I do that? Because when it's into quotes, it appears with an highlight on the video, because I have my own solution for subtitles, and also because after that I use some API. I think I use a Google Translate API to translate the subtitles in I think 4 languages: French, Hindi, Spanish, and there's a fourth one, but I forgot what is it. What it is. And using API, so Google Translate API, I'm not translating the technical words that I put into quotes. So it's very complex. It takes me so much time to create the subtitles, but I do it because people love it. I've seen some stats, they are really using the subtitles. And when I create a new lesson, I don't have the subtitles yet. People are like, well, the subtitles, it's not working, it's not working. Okay, I'm going to do the subtitles. And then I go live. So it's huge. It takes a lot of time. I calculated like a 1 hour video. I think it's 10 hours of work. So yeah, you add that together and it's huge. I went a lot into details, I realized, but maybe it will help people on building some learning content. So yeah, that's my roadmap to create lessons on making pizzas.
A good one. And especially good since you're a teacher, what's one skill you think aspiring developers should focus on?
Yeah, with digital, we hear that a lot, but it's super important in digital. The first thing you need to learn and master is how to learn. I know it's kind of the cheesy answer, but it's so important to be able to learn efficiency because things are changing like super fast. There are many new techniques, new languages, new job titles and stuff like that. You need to be able to learn super fast, and everybody has a different way to learn efficiently, using books, using videos, just being able to say, okay, I'm going to buy this course, and then you realize, no, it was not a good course. I should not have buy this course. Why wasn't it bad? Could I have seen that it was going to be bad? And learning how to learn is very, very, very important, I think. Because I keep on learning. That's crazy, but it's today's world, especially in digital. Our parents, I don't know for you, but our parents used to do the same job for 10 to 20 years. That's just crazy. And they were okay with that because you do your job the whole day, you get home, and that's where you start to enjoying really your day. Today, it's not like that. We are working like many different jobs. So many people in digital are just doing a bunch of different stuff and shifting from this to that to a new job offer to some freelancing, and it's changing so fast that you need to keep on learning stuff. So you never get bored, but you need to keep on learning. That's why keep on learning is very important. And the issue I've seen, the main thing that prevent people from learning is that I don't have time, because they work really hard for their company, for their I don't know, clients, stuff like that. They don't have this schedule where they just learn stuff, and that's super important in terms of career, in terms of self like enjoyment, things like that. I've seen it's a developer. I always forget his name. No, I forget his name. Someone is doing like 6 months of hard work for clients, stuff like that, and then 6 months of pure learning, and 6 months and 6 months and 6 months. And I admire this. I'm doing that, but at a smaller scale because I don't learn enough. I do learn. I'm almost every day. There was a time where every day I was spending 1 hour learning anything. It was really like anything, and I was forcing myself. It was great, but sometimes it was really like people were going party. I was like, no, I need to do my 1 hour learning. I will get back to you soon, and I did that, and I just think it's important to just learn how to learn best.
That's a really important one.
Yeah,
You can't become a software engineer if you don't learn
yeah,
the skills.
yeah.
So I
And
guess that's it.
more practically, learn JavaScript.
Yes.
This thing that is called JavaScript, and with JavaScript, you can build absolutely everything. You can control anything. You can control robots. You can control server sides, front end sides. With JavaScript, you can create 3D games. You can create applications, native applications using the various solution. Just start with JavaScript. You can do
And you
anything
can
with
and
JavaScript.
you can add the Konami code to your website as well.
Obviously, very important. Never forget.
Yeah. What resources would you recommend for people to start learning? And let's say specifically web-based development.
Today, we don't need school. When I started on the web, it was quite a long time ago, and web was still a shy thing. It was huge, but it was shy in real life. And I don't know if you made this point where you realize today we have advertising for website. It's normal. But years ago, it was never happening. Like I remember the first time I saw an advertise for a website, was like, oh, we do that now. So web is getting bigger, and the way to learn web was you need to be, live in a cave and with the learning books and be able to do that. But most people were not able to do that, or there were a few schools to learn, and schools were kind of a nice jump to start your career in learning. Today it's not the case. Today you can learn anything without school. I mean, schools are great, but I think you can learn anything with just the web. You just need to find the right content, and today I think you can learn so much for free on YouTube. That's crazy. About any topic you can learn anything on YouTube for free. Just start there in order to just get the feeling of, you thought, okay, maybe I need to learn that. I'm not going to spend money on it yet. Just go on YouTube, find some content, try different content creator, because there are some that are better than others, and just learn for free on YouTube. I know I'm selling a course, but my advice is don't buy a course yet. Have a look to free content on YouTube, and you might find what you need, and you might be able to just see if that's something for you or not. Obviously, if it's for learning web development, the roadmaps, we have all seen the roadmaps. It's funny because I sometimes send the roadmaps for like front end development, things like that, and people are like, "No, what's that?" And they click on it and they're like, "Ah, yeah, I've seen this one, obviously." And it's just the famous roadmap with all this stuff. And so you check the roadmaps, and then you go on YouTube and you find some free content. And eventually, if you want some paid content, well, have a look to it. So that's what I would say for beginners in order to learn web development.
Okay, interesting one, because you don't, from what I'm aware, you don't really deal in open source too much.
Not a lot, yeah.
But do you think it's important to be involved in open source for aspiring engineers?
Yeah, it's super important. The fun part is people don't realize how much open source, like most projects rely on open source features. There are crazy stuff that with encoding, encryption, things like that, things that run the web that are based on open source, and we don't realize that. We don't realize how important it is. I don't do that much because I'm not a team player, because I'm so afraid of breaking something. That's an issue I have. I don't want to work on open source project because I don't want to break anything. The few times I did, because I did participate to open source project a few times, I broke a few things, and it was so stressful. I just didn't enjoy doing it. But that's just me. That's why I don't do it. But it's actually so important. And there is always this thing that people don't realize, is that doing open source doesn't mean you don't get paid. That's a bit sad, but people are like, no, I don't want to work for free. We are not talking about working for free. You can work on some open source and being paid. That happens. It depends on the project. There are paid developers that work only on open source project. So super important. Have a look. Contribute to whatever open source project that you might be interested on. Don't do like me, like on solo developer that don't want to break anything. It's just we should not be that shy. That's an issue I have, but yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, I imagine you have an answer for this, but what is the best piece of career advice that you've ever received?
I always say, don't be shy and post stuff on social media. I've seen that developers are shy. I use this term a few times in this discussion, but I think it's something we see a lot with developers. We are shy. We don't want to post. We don't want to talk. We avoid interacting with others, and we are really missing something there. Just post stuff on social medias, whatever platforms. Sometimes it can just like blow up like crazy and completely change your life. Just like we've talked about the YouTube shorts that change Power Software life. Just like I posted my portfolio. You know that my portfolio, it was just a website. I I was asking my students to create their portfolios as a homework. I was like, mine is not that great. Maybe I should try to create something that will inspire them. And that's why I created this portfolio. Like I was just working like in the evening or the weekend, and I made that portfolio and I just posted it like a yeah, whatever. I made this. I remember I just wrote the tweet like in a few seconds and posted it. Like, oh, okay, I made this portfolio, and bah, that blew up crazy because I just posted it. I stopped being shy, and the fun part, especially in web development, digital stuff, etc., is that people are super interesting in the work in progress part. By that I mean sometimes I worked on project and I posted some tweets about work in progress. Those tweets quite a huge buzz. They blew up. That was great. People were like, "Oh, that's super cool." And then we posted the final project, and people were like, "Meh, okay, that's cool." So just post, even if it's work in progress. Just post, just post, just post, and you will be surprised to find where the hype is at, and don't be shy, and also don't make it a burden. I've seen some people starting to post and they were like, okay, I'm going to make cool videos, I'm going to edit it and some cool music and stuff, and the tweet is just great. Okay, not many uh, response on that tweet. Okay, we do another one, and the video editing and this and that. Okay, this one worked better but not crazy. And then the third one, okay, I'm getting tired. No, don't do that. Just do a screenshot, post it with some typos. We don't care, and don't make it a burden. Otherwise, you will stop doing it. And yeah, I just post some tweet with some bad English, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work, but it creates some hypes. Just post stuff.
Okay, this is an important one, I think, because you now work for yourself.
Mhm.
You make courses. You mentioned before how technologies change rapidly
Mhm.
nowadays. How do you keep? Let's use ThreeJS for an example. Let's say it starts to really ramp up its development and it starts changing a lot. How do
Mm.
you keep up with trends?
Um, First, to be aware of trends, I almost only use Twitter. I know that Twitter is under the highlights and not always good these days, but what I say every time, some people are like, Twitter is trash. Twitter is what you follow. So if Twitter is trash, maybe check who you are following. And by the way, I realized that some people didn't know that on Twitter, there is two tab at the top, and some people complaining about Twitter were on the For You tab instead of the Following tab. I don't know if you knew that, but they go on
Yeah.
Twitter and the default one was For You, and For You is kind of crap with the advertising content, like shitty content, some people stuff, etc. But following is exactly what you follow, and I take a really, sometimes I do some cleanup about who I'm following. I'm following about, I don't know, maybe 400, 500 people. And it's just content that I enjoy about ThreeJS, about 3D, about, I don't know, Unreal Engine, Unity, Godot, things like that. And I just keep myself updated thanks to that. After that, it's about learning new stuff. And you mentioned 3GS. 3GS is doing like a turn these days about web GPU. I don't know if you've heard about web GPU. It should be a replacement for WebGL, but WebGL is still here. Not everybody supports web GPU. It's maybe like there's maybe 1/5 that people that won't be able to see web GPU for a while. Thank you, Apple. And 3GS is doing some huge changes to support kind of both at the same time. I'm not going to go into details, but right now there is stuff to learn. And what I did is just like, okay, for a few weeks, I'm going to eat some new 3GS features nonstop. And what I did was that I posted without making it a burden. So I was just learning stuff. I had like a huge to-do of things to learn, and every time I was doing something, I was like, okay, but there is that too. Okay, I added to the to-do list. There is still some points I need to check because I was still working on it. That's crazy. Like I stopped for a few weeks. I'm back and like, oh, there are so many new features like HDR, things like that, and I just learn and I post what I learn, and people are getting hype. They are also learning, so I provide some templates for them to learn, and they're like, but when can we learn that from ThreeJS Journey? So I get the hype of it, like the temperature, like are people interested in that? So I learn, I post, I get more followers, and I start to really understand what people want to learn about this. And that's how I do. When there are new things happening, Twitter, practicing, posting about what I learned, because people love a work in progress and see how other people are learning. And every time there's a new feature I'm interested in, I just do that.
Yeah, Twitter is a reflection of yourself, I think. Like if you have bad like consuming habits, it will show you what you're consuming more of.
Yeah, true.
So you can make it. I was telling my partner last night actually that some people could just enter that app, never contribute anything, but they could turn it into a really good feed of things they're interested in life, and never actually contribute, and just use it as like a different type of news feed, which is interesting.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Last one. What is your take on the future of software development?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a controversy right here. I'm going to focus on web development because web is my thing. I don't do a lot of other like software development or other domains. So about the web, I think there is something happening that people don't realize enough. Things got unnecessarily complicated. And just have a look to the roadmap. There is like half of, let's take the front end roadmap. Half of it, I don't know it, and I'm not going to learn it because I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. And I have this, I mentioned that earlier, this beginner approach where I realized that, oh shit, a beginner starting web development is going to be hard, bro. I'm so sorry. Things should have went easier, and things got actually more complicated, and we still do the same website, but it's harder. And you have libraries that come out. I know people won't agree. It's really like my personal opinion, and I still love to learn new stuff. I've learned some of those libraries, and I think they're just awesome. But I always have this point of view of a beginner that arrives and like, okay, in order to build those websites, so you need to learn that, but you also need to learn that. And things, since you use those two, it gets a little bit complicated. Donc you will learn a third thing that is on top of it that will make those things simple. But because you use that, you can't use this hosting solution. So you're going to need to learn that on top of it. But because you're using that, you also need to use that. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry, bro. You're about to learn for a few years before you're really able to do those websites. And I think that's super sad that these days we are doing that. People are creating new solutions, saying that it's going to make things simple, but you actually need to learn them. So it's not making things simple if you need to learn them. And that's sad because this is due to how web has been evolving. You know, the base of web, the everything that is being handled by the W3C, yeah. JavaScript didn't evolve fast enough. HTML didn't evolve. We're still using HTML. Is HTML great or not? And since this was not moving, people started building on top of it, building on top of it, building on top of it. And now we can hardly change the base. Even if now we have the potential, they have organized themselves, they can't change the base that easily without breaking everything that is on top of it. So we are kind of stuck. And my hope is that we are in this wave where things got tremendously complicated, and then people will realize, and it will go down. I've seen, since I help, I have this Discord. I said we are like more than 20,000 on this Discord with beginners asking questions about 3GS and their projects, etc. And every time there is a new trendy piece of tech that arrives that can impact it, we receive a lot of questions about it. Typically, TypeScript, we get a lot of students having troubles in their projects, and it's not actual 3GS problem, it's not WebGL problem, it's TypeScript issues. So you're losing time, bro. I know TypeScript can help a lot. I know it can. I did some project with TypeScript. I don't use it. Never. If I have the choice, I will never use it. There is TypeScript. There is Next.js. Next.js, awesome piece of tech in terms of technical. What's happening in Next.js is just crazy. But wait, Personally, I never use that. I don't need it. I just do classic LAMP server, so LAMP. With I can do PHP, and it's just worked perfectly. And I can take a cheap hosting solution. It was just perfectly. In terms of performance, it's worse. No, it's not worse. It's actually much better, and it's less expensive, and it's much easier to maintain and to develop. And I don't have to learn new stuff to build that. So that's the current situation. I think people don't realize because they get better, so they want new stuff. They are actually contributing to even more stuff, but they are closing doors to beginners. I think that's super sad. We always forget the beginners that need to learn more and more stuff just to start building websites. And so yeah, I think that's the thing these days.
That's not that's not where I thought it would go.
Yeah.
That's I never think about that. Yeah, you are obviously very beginner focused,
Yeah,
which
always.
is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, you forget, don't you, that uh, it's similar to
We
like
used to be able to create an HTML file and just write in that HTML file. And when I teach to full beginners, we do that. One HTML file, not a CSS file, not a JavaScript file, because I want them to just have this code. Okay, it's open, it's working. You have it in the browser, you have it in your code editor, and we can just start having fun. Obviously, later we're going to have a lot of CSS. Okay, let's put it in a file. A lot of JavaScript. Okay, let's put it in a file. But always beginner approach. And every time I have to learn that beginner stuff, I'm like, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm so sorry.
it's funny you mentioned the single HTML page, because we on roadmap we have projects that you can do now,
Yeah.
and one of them is a
I,
single page HTML
oh,
file. So
that's great.
I on our Discord, I don't do it anymore. I should start doing it again. But I would do like live sessions on like the stage, right, where I would do in front of people. I would create the single page HTML website,
Yeah.
and they would follow along. And you forget. It's a strange thing to say, but you forget how powerful it is.
What do you mean?
Like you forget how powerful just HTML and
Yeah.
CSS, like the basics. And then yeah, I have to remind myself, like I still use the basics of all three
Mm.
in every project I do. Like if I'm building an Astro project or a Next.js project, guess what? I'm still adding JavaScript somewhere. I'm still using HTML tags. I'm still doing CSS. Even if I'm using Tailwind, I'm still using CSS.
Mm.
Yeah, I never really realized that when you get more advanced, you're up here and you're comfortable being up here,
Mm.
but people down here, you've like taken away the ladder a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like
Exactly.
taking the ladder with you, and they can't reach it anymore, I guess. So
Yeah, actually, that makes me think that one advice I would give to beginners is take the time to teach what you learn or what you think you have learned. That's something that I realized when I started teaching in a classroom is we forget and we don't realize all that we know and all that we need to learn. I was like, when finished like writing, those huge diagram on paper, I was like, oh shit, I know all this stuff. That's crazy. I thought I was still kind of a beginner trying to teach someone, with the imposter syndrome. And I was like, okay, actually, I know stuff. But there is also this piece that I don't know. And sometimes you have a student that will ask you, but why is it like that? And you're like, oh shit, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm going to dive into that question. And by just teaching, so you can just like explain that to your friends or family or stuff, you will realize what you've learned, and you will also realize what you need to learn, and you will also keep this view, this perspective of a beginner. So yeah, new advice for beginners: teach. Just teach stuff to your friends or family, and you will learn a lot about yourself, and keep this beginner perspective.
I think that's a good that's a good place to end. I think that's good advice, especially considering the last question is any final words of encouragement, and you just gave it. That's perfect.
Yeah. The one I always say if it's hard to learn, it's valuable knowledge. If it's hard to learn, it means not everybody will be able to do that. So it's valuable knowledge. So keep grinding.
And I guess on the teaching part, if it's hard to learn, maybe you can make it not so hard to learn.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's the
can.
level on top of it. Yeah, true,
Yeah,
true. I like that.